I'd love to fight Nagano.
Ngannou?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's amazing, yeah.
Back in the mid-90s, Don Frye was a heavyweight who put fear into anyone standing across from him. He was the definition of an old-school alpha male. But when the early 2000s rolled around, things started going downhill as he faced tough losses, mounting injuries, and the effects of years of brutal wars inside the cage. What exactly went wrong? Let's break it down. Don Frye started his MMA career in 1996, bagging 6 wins in the same year.
So all your fights in the UFC were only 1 year?
1 year.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah, and none of them went the distance.
He won the UFC 8 tournament and was on course to winning the UFC 10 heavyweight tournament as well.
I'm Don Frye. I'm here in the finals for another championship. It's all mine, baby. Money in the bank.
Unfortunately, the rising legend hit a major roadblock. At UFC 10 in July 1996, Mark Coleman met Don Frye in the tournament final, and the fight turned into a showcase of Coleman's raw wrestling dominance. Frye came in undefeated and tried to keep it standing, but Coleman quickly closed the distance, secured takedowns, and kept him trapped on the mat with relentless top control. Frye showed his toughness by sprawling and scrambling to escape positions. He even fired back with punches, but Coleman's pressure was suffocating. He battered Frye with heavy elbows, punches, and knees, opening a cut and steadily wearing him down. After more than 11 minutes of non-stop ground and pound, referee John McCarthy stopped the fight, awarding Coleman a TKO victory and Frye his first career loss.
Coleman beat the hell out of me. Remember Coleman beat the hell out of me in UFC 10?
Yeah.
And so then he broke my ocular, I think it is, or occipital, I don't know.
After taking a brutal loss to Mark Coleman, Frye bounced back in a big way, racking up 9 straight wins over the next 6 years. That run included winning the Ultimate 96 heavyweight tournament and picking up 3 Pride victories, one of them being the legendary Fight of the Year war against Yoshihiro Takayama.
It was a great fight, and I'm proud and honored to have been part of it, and that and Takayama, he deserves more respect than he gets.
By 2001, Frye was considered one of the biggest stars in Pride, and people naturally expected him to win big until a different Japanese legend knocked at his door. At Pride 23 in November 2002, Frye faced Japanese judoka Hidehiko Yoshida, who was making his MMA debut against his vastly experienced foe. Throughout their fight, Yoshida worked clinch and grips to neutralize Frye's boxing, and then chained a throw-to-armbar sequence isolating Frye's arm. Frye refused to tap, and the arm visibly broke under pressure as the referee halted the bout when Frye could no longer continue. Yoshida's submission stunned the crowd and handed Frye a brutal and career-altering loss, while launching Yoshida's celebrated jump from Olympic judo into Pride. If the injury wasn't enough to slow down his dreams of world domination, an old rival soon came back to haunt him. At Pride 26 in June 2003, Frye had his rematch against Mark Coleman, who was coming off a serious neck injury, but perhaps he was not as beat up as Frye.
For the second Mark Coleman fight, I went over and I had Frank Shamrock, train me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we couldn't train. I was so beat up, at that point in my career.
On fight night, Coleman secured multiple takedowns, controlled much of the fight from top position, landed knees and ground strikes, and neutralized Frye's attempts at offense, including several guillotine setups, while largely avoiding damage. Though the pace was methodical and it wasn't a flashy slugfest, Coleman's grappling and positional dominance made the difference, and after 3 rounds of battle, all judges favored him. Post-fight, Coleman apologized to the fans for the lack of fireworks in the fight, but called out Frye's toughness.
Mark the Hammer Coleman.
It wasn't one of my
Let's listen
more
to what he has
exciting
to say.
fights, but it's been a long time. I've had a lot of injuries. I told you I would come back. I'm halfway back. I will continue to improve and become the dominant fighter I once was. I promise.
You remember 2 years ago,
He's a true
he
champion.
came back, and he came back with a bang.
He's one
So
tough
this is the
man.
kind of person that really can
And
do
I'm
it.
very happy to get this win.
Frye was indeed tough to take out, but with back-to-back losses and all the wear and tear from years of fighting, even that toughness was about to crack.
How many discs do you have fused?
I don't know if it's 11 discs or 11 vertebrae. Yeah.
How many vertebrae does a human have?
20 some.
So you got half of them are fused.
At Pride Shockwave 2003, Don Frye faced Gary Goodridge in their trilogy fight. In their first fight, Frye submitted Goodridge to win the UFC 8 tournament. In their second battle that took place in the Ultimate 96 tournament, Goodridge quit due to exhaustion in the opening round, and Frye went on to win that tournament as well. With back-to-back losses, Goodridge knew he had to produce something special to come out of Frye's shadow, and he did exactly that. Just 30 seconds into their fight, Goodridge landed a devastating right roundhouse kick to Frye's head that knocked him out cold.
In Houston, Texas, the same gym where
The KO was especially meaningful for Goodridge as he avenged his earlier losses to Frye and ended his Pride career with this emphatic win.
I'm sorry I'm a little emotional tonight because tonight means a lot to me.
For Frye, it was a message that he needed to shake things up, and he did so by signing with K1 and fighting Yoshihiro Nakao. But their fight at K1 MMA Romanex was ruled a no contest due to an accidental eye poke. Their rematch took place in December 2004, and it was completely one-sided. Frye brought his typical aggressiveness from the word go, looking for big strikes and trying to impose his experience. Nakao largely avoided the heavy brawling, mixing takedowns and clinches to keep things tight. Frye tried to land power shots and force the pace, but Nakao's defensive awareness and cardio saw him through. After 3 full rounds, judges awarded Nakao a unanimous decision win.
So Don, what do you think about your opponent Nakao by fighting him?
Tough kid. He did a great job.
Frye had gone winless in his last 5 fights, and for a man who was once seen as a terrifying monster, he now looked like just a shadow of his old self. But after taking 2 years off, he returned in 2006 looking like a different fighter, submitting Akabono in his comeback, then finishing Yoshihisa Yamamoto and brutally knocking out Kim Min-soo. Thinking that the Frye of old was back, Pride took another chance with him, setting him up against James Thompson at Pride 34, but this time, the fall would be fatal. Thompson came out guns blazing, but was immediately dropped on the canvas. Frye couldn't follow up cleanly, however, and gave Thompson a chance to recover. Soon, the British heavyweights' improved groundwork started to turn the tide in his favor. By the 6th minute, Thompson had Frye down and was battering the legend with heavy punches and knees. Referee Yuji Shimada had no choice but to step in at 6 minutes and 23 seconds of the first round, and once again, Frye had to claw his way back up. A few months later, Frye once again pulled a rabbit out of his hat when he knocked out Brian Pardo. His next task, however, was far tougher, and it showed. At a deep MMA event in August 2008, Frye faced Japanese legend Ikuhisa Minowa, hoping to prove that he still belonged among the best, but he didn't get a chance to show it. Minowa opened aggressively, quickly shooting in for a double leg takedown to put Frye on his back.
箕輪マン選手曰くですね、向こうが最初から飛ばしてきてですね、岡山で。
それ以来ということになるんでしょうか。
Frye defended some early submission attempts, but Minowa stayed tight and worked transitions.
で、KO はしてますよね。足
さあ、取りました。
Minowa initially locked up Frye's leg and threatened with a heel hook.
きついと思うんですけどね。
ここで容易にタップしないのが男の中の男。
But then methodically shifted into a knee bar. The move came on strong as Frye tapped out within 4 minutes of the first round. By 2009, Frye was in the twilight of his career, but he still managed to bag a solid submission win against Rich Moss at Shark Fights 4, which set him up against the young and hungry 16-1 prospect, Dave Herman. But Frye would lose that too by a knockout. At Gladiator Challenge, Megastars, Frye faced former foe Ruben Warpath Villarreal for the vacant heavyweight title in what would be his final dance. The first fight between the two in 2006 had been a draw, so this was a winner-takes-all matchup. Frye, now 46, came in riding a mixed late career, hoping to recapture glory. But Villarreal was the better man throughout as he connected with big shots in the clinch before overwhelming Frye with even bigger shots to earn a knockout. It was another tough loss for Frye, and this time it made it clear that the legend's decline couldn't be ignored anymore. Not long after, he finally retired, proving once again that even the greatest careers eventually reach their end. If you think Frye's story is rough, check out our recent video on another MMA icon who took a few too many losses before calling it quits, Chuck Liddell.